things didn't go to plan for Bradley Brooks in the last game, and that now invites a certain Marvin van Velsen back into the equation. 18 points for Brooks, 16 points for Marvin, and a win against Whitehead will put Marvin back to the top of the tree. It could have been so different. Brooks could be in the distance and on the cusp of winning the group, but now things have twisted back towards the Dutchman. Whitehead, though, like Chris Murphy mentioned at the end of the last game, he's got his own motives. A win in this match for him, particularly by a certain margin, could get him back in the top 3. That's how tight things are. And he starts this game in 5th. So interesting times ahead. With 7 games remaining in this group, nothing is certain.
It's Conan to throw first. Game on.
No, nothing at all. And we just saw that in the match we just witnessed. And we just feel, I'm sure you feel it at home or wherever you're watching as well, that you can't call any game now.
Conan Whitehead's going to have the biggest say in who wins this group.
45.
Because he has to play both Marvin and Bradley.
How damaging that defeat could have been for Bradley Brooks. Had he won that match, he'd have been 4 points clear
41.
and would have been a win away from qualifying. Now, if he loses this game, or if Van Whitehead loses this game, Van Velsen wins, he'll be level with Brooks. He'll be in front of him, and he's going to be at least 7 legs clear. Brooks will have gone from being a massively strong favourite to quite a big outsider.
There is actually a risk now
98.
that Marvin could win this group, and Brooks might have too much to do when he plays Whitehead in game 14. Because the 3 games that Marvin has, they come in
70.
quick succession.
Yeah, Brooks playing next. This little exchange between them against Harry Ward, and then you're going to see Van Velsen play against
92.
Croft, have a game off, and then play again against Ward.
He's got the game on, game off scenario. So 3 games for the next 5.
And unlike Bradley, has the darts in both of his last
60.
games. Everything's suddenly starting to point towards him.
70.
But that's all on the provision that he beats Conan Whitehead.
58.
If he doesn't, he's not necessarily back to square one, but he will have missed an opportunity.
Yeah, it'll be in a worse position because he'll be in the same position but with less time to put it right.
137. Going to 112.
60 needed.
76.
Not many people utilise that treble 12 on 72, but for some reason over the last couple of weeks I've started to see it a bit more. Is it coming back into fashion? Bullseyes never go out of fashion.
64.
Gave it a go.
Going to require 36.
Maybe that's the reason why Conan is not in the top 3 to start this match. His doubles percentage for the week has let him down a little bit. Double 4. Break a throw. I'm not sure how much Conan's going to enjoy that celebration.
Yeah, Van Velsen. Conan's having a good look at him. Oh, he didn't enjoy it at all. You were right. But I mentioned it in the previous game. Van Velsen is not looking at his opponents at all. Will not acknowledge their existence.
Honestly, in darting terms, if there's one person you don't want to do that to, maybe it's Vincent van der Voort. But top tier of people that you don't want to celebrate against, Conan is in that bracket.
Oh, the stare.
100.
What have you done, Marvin? You might have just poked the wolf.
140.
Interesting thing to see now is whether he reacts by reacting.
He will. If he wins this leg, he'll give something back. He's not afraid to do anything. Conan does what he wants.
66.
This is why I love watching him, because he is reactive, but he's also proactive.
140.
He loves to play this game, and he loves to have a scrap as well.
Well, the referee Owen Binks now just keeping an eye on. He might have more on his mind than just the darts going in the board, and Whitehead reacts to the speed. We did mention this earlier. It has been evident all day that Marvin van Velzen has been taking his time more than usual.
97.
I'm just watching as well. Our position is right behind the hockey, looking over. Whitehead was basically trying to move him out of the way there by stepping forward.
91.
While Van Velzen was still at the hockey.
Predominantly, if you've played against someone a couple of times this week already, and it's 1-1 between these two players, coincidentally,
59. Only require
you
130.
assess their pace and you get used to them playing a certain way, and you think, well, why are they changing? Now, our attention looks at 88.
122.
So why is he playing with less pace today? Is it because he's just a bit nervous about the situation he's in and he's trying to stay composed? Or is it a tactic?
136.
It's right up the Dimitri van den Berg playbook, isn't it? Right, are we going to see a reaction as Paul predicted?
Game shot in the second
I
left.
think we heard one.
Conan Whitehead.
It's like that old line from the Kung Fu
gets
movies.
Conan to throw
You wanna
first.
fight?
Game.
Fight me! If there's someone you don't want to have a darting scrap with, it's Conan Whitehead.
81.
Basically, chapter 1.
I'll just try and have a look. When he approaches the hockey now, Conan Whitehead, after this, how quickly he's doing it. He probably won't this time, but because of how slow
60.
Marvin van Velzen is approaching it, Whitehead is racing there as if to try and take over the pace of the game. It's a little battle, isn't it, about who's going to dictate the pace.
Who said that darts was just flinging metal at a mat?
And look how long he's taking here.
I'll give him props for courage, because I'm not sure I would employ this plan.
Right, watch the difference. Watch the difference as Conan chuckles to himself. He's stepping forward now as the last dart
101.
goes. He's already there, ready to throw, while the hands are on the board retrieving the darts.
92.
I just think you pick your moments. And there's going to be some people out there thinking that I'm doing the old pot and kettle black thing.
140.
But the fact remains, in-game, you play your game. You don't play another game
94.
to upset an opponent. I don't agree with that. I think you play your game. If this is the same as him all the time, I'd say fair enough. But if he's changing pace deliberately to try and put off an opponent, I don't like that at all.
The problem is, your game is not just throwing the darts, is it? It's everything around it, and you can't always play your own game. As we're seeing in this game, well, anyone that's been in traffic knows you can't drive faster than the car in front of you.
Requires 60.
It doesn't end very well.
No, it doesn't. Now, reaction back, question mark?
Game shot in the third left.
That's a great dart, no matter what you
Marvin van
think.
Velzen.
He could only see half the bed. And now is 2-1 ahead
Ball player gets Marvin
in
to
this
throw
match.
first.
I sneakily think that Conan's quite enjoying this.
I think he is. You didn't catch it on camera. There was a slight reaction, just a little finger point to the side. So Conan would have seen that. You might not have. But that's why he was chuckling to himself, because there is a bit of bravado going on here.
There is.
125.
And if there's one thing Conan knows better than most when it comes to the MODUS Super Series, is that you do not win the week on a
81.
Wednesday. You win it on a Saturday night around 11 o'clock. And he might be thinking of this moment, saying, well, you have your little moment right now. You might win this
57.
group. We might both go to Group B. You just never know. But let's see who's there Saturday night. And if this is the kind of narrative that is going to follow into Saturday night, it's going to make for a
180.
fascinating Week 10.
140.
He's no shrinking violet. I'll give Marvin that prop.
60.
And he does have 6 darts to get a 3-1 lead.
$44.
Oh, that was messy. It didn't look good at all. And from 179, he was thinking leave 80 or possibly tops.
83.
Now, it's still a 3-dot combination.
Marvin, you require 135.
Well, if we get a supersize finish, then we might really see some kind of reaction, some kind of celebration.
95.
It's
Only
a
you require
perfect setup
97.
instead, but Whitehead has a chance on tops.
Game shot on the 4th leg.
Now, that was pretty much the same
Conan
thing
won it.
that Van Velzen did in the previous leg. He's just mocking him right in front of his face.
5th leg, it's
I
Conan
think it's
to throw
hilarious.
first. Game on.
And he made sure he did see it. Van Velzen has been trying not to look at his opponents today, but that was right in front of him. He can't have missed it.
We've still got possibly 3 legs to go.
85.
This is the best game of the day by a mile. But standard-wise, it isn't.
Well, it's been going on over 10 minutes for the first 4 legs. Both players are averaging in the high 80s. It could actually explode. It could go either way. It could explode in more ways than one. But there's an opportunity for that little bit of fire and fight to ignite brilliant darts. We see that happen from time to time.
Now, I know that darts is
57.
not a contact sport, but every now and again, we do see a war of the mind or a war of the, let's say, the preparation. I'm going to give you a sporting example from the UFC.
134.
Michael Bisping and Dan Henderson didn't like each other at all, and they finally faced off in the octagon. And when Dan Henderson
41.
flattened Bisping with an incredible overhand right, Bisping started to fall to the canvas, and most people would just let their opponent fall to the canvas, and then that would be the end of the
81.
contest. Oh no. What we've got at this point are 2 dart players trying to do what Dan Henderson did. It's called the flying elbow,
96.
where your opponent is on the floor potentially, and then one last blow to an already finished opponent. If we go all the way to leg number 7, things could get very, very interesting.
60.
Good switch.
78.
Gets to the finish, but
Marvin,
Marvin's
you
finish
require
is a lot more makeable.
126.
Can he get past that for a shot at the ball? What would have been really interesting is if he'd hit the 57, then laid up.
58. Conan, you require 144.
Being so good on the treble 18, why didn't he go for the 54?
92.
Well, 2 darters
Marvin,
each.
you require 68.
Who's got the advantage now?
Gets 2 darts. Double 2.
Game shot
Oh,
the 5th
giving
leg.
it large. He's not backing
Marvin
down,
Van
is he?
Velzen.
Well, he who laughs last
Sixth leg,
will
it's
laugh loudest,
Marvin
no
to
doubt
throw
about that.
first.
That's a breaker throw.
Game on.
I think in a strange little way, Conan respects it because he doesn't want to back down. Because lesser
100.
players, present company included, I probably would have backed down to someone like Conan because he can frighten the daylights out of you.
128.
But he's obviously got this mission of winning this group. He wants to be top. After 13 rounds played, and if he gets one more leg
85.
in this contest, that will be the case.
I just hope for the sporting spectacle that they carry on like this, but then shake hands
140.
and respect each other at the end of it. That's what good sportsmanship's all about.
And again, talking about contact sports like boxing, MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, whatever you want. They will kick and punch
45.
and elbow each other for 5 to 12 rounds. But at the end, they'll be hugging. I'm not necessarily convinced that there's going to be hugs at the end of this one.
I actually
93.
don't think it's the reactions that'll bother Conan the most. If he does leave this match and feel in any way upset, I think it's this that's going to bother him.
Yeah.
The fact that he's waiting forever, and I think he's just shown that by having a little look at his non-existent watch.
Well, just have a look at his. His is big enough. It can be seen from
126.
the International
Conan
Space Station.
140.
Well, it's been a glorious game to watch
92.
for many
Marvin
reasons.
McCoy,
How does it end?
145.
When does it end?
No matter what happens at the end of this match, they've got to go back to the practice room together.
85.
Is it
Conan,
going to
you
be
require
7
48.
legs? More
Game
fun
shown
for
with
us.
Six Flags.
More fun for
Conan
them,
Whitehead.
but more tension as well.
And nothing.
7th and final leg. It's Conan.
Nothing from Whitehead in terms of actually reacting to
Game
the double
on.
being hit, but then he did give a rather heavy-handed fist bump, shall we say, and a look straight in the eyes, which is something Van Velzen has been avoiding.
You and I know Conan very well. It's like bumping fists
58.
with Thanos.
I hope he did it with his left hand, Marvin, here.
Got to be the most fascinating game of the week.
81.
You don't often get games like this. I'm not going to call it needle. It's not needle.
100.
It probably deserves a better word than that. Posturing.
I think you're right. I think that you were right when you said Conan's kind of enjoying it in a way. Didn't expect it, didn't really want it, but he's brought it and he's decided to embrace it. The 180, though, could be the determining factor
60.
in this deciding leg.
Yeah, and that was the first one in this game for Marvin. Great time to get one.
$97.
That's just as valuable. Been a fair few breaks of throw in this game as well.
Marvin require 143.
What a recovery from Conan there. That 134 gets him knocking on the door. If he hits this 149,
60. Conan require 140.
watch out. He's got 74 left. So he's in
89.
position for single to double. Marvin might only get one shot at the bull.
83.
Biggest shot of the group.
Well, he's
51.
happy with where he's left it, but he won't be happy to
Conan
watch
require
Whitehead go
60.
to try and take this match on tops.
Game shot and the
It went in.
match.
If you weren't looking at the
Conan
screen, you would
Whitehead.
know it anyway, because Whitehead let out an almighty roar. But there is that, well, a little bit of respect, but some frostiness. And Conan Whitehead very happy with that. Now, I think, to be fair, the frostiness came from the defeated player there. Marvin Van Velzen did not want to look at Conan Whitehead as he shook his hand. They still did that, and that just angered Whitehead a little bit, hence the response at the end of the game. And what a spectacle it was. 4-3. They may be playing each other a few more times this week. Well, that remains to be seen.